Hello,
Hello,
how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How about you?
Good, good. Um, I'm in another place now in Penang in the north, or not the north, Georgetown it's called. It's a very cool island city with loads of murals and amazing food in Malaysia.
So, are you in another place right now?
Yeah, so it's like work,
It's very interesting to have this life traveling a lot.
traveling a lot. But I'm also looking forward to getting to Thailand and getting back to my base and not moving for some time. But I still am enjoying this.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, it's been a couple of busy months for sure.
Yeah,
And what about you?
as the usual.
Usual. Any updates with the? You didn't send the letter. You sent me the message, but I can't find the message in this. I have to go back in. Do you still have it?
Really?
Like it's the way the platform is. I still have it, but I have to go into and open another page to get it up. Hold on.
Oh,
You can't open the messages you sent me in here.
interesting.
Uh, history. Uh, okay, I just have to copy and paste it into this. How are you? Can you send a question and answer to the scholarship? The question was, how does the conflict affect your personality? Is this it? And how
Yes.
it's affected your life, career, and goals? Okay. How has the situation this? So, okay. Conflict?
And let me see.
Can you see?
Yes. Let me just. Yes. August.
Lots of changes.
This effect. This effect. I think it's everything here. Yes.
To impose own perspectives, and there is often difficulty in accepting the error and giving in so that harmony is established. Okay, just this part. Perspective, and there is often difficulty in accepting the error. Uh, what do you mean by the error? Because both parties, like when there's a war, both people feel they're right and they're wrong, right? So difficulty in accepting other political opinions or political or religious opinions, maybe,
Yeah.
because everybody feels there is an error, or you're that's the point. That's a given in war. You're having a conflict in opinions, right? So
Yes.
accepting opposing opinions, maybe, or opposing opinions, or a conflict in opinions, or we could say a conflict, say, in political or religious opinions. Okay. So just that bit. Everything else is brilliant there so far. So in a situation where there are disagreements with another person, there is a feeling of impotence when not being able to impose one's perspective, and there is often difficulty in accepting and giving in so that harmony is established. In a conflict situation, I feel helpless and de- depending on the other person's stress level. What is that? I can't even speak. Okay. When I wait silently for an other party to calm down. So hold on a second. The question is asking you what exactly? When you,
I
how
think
has,
they yes, any situation that affects you and the situation of conflict, um, not only related to your country, like if you live in Syria or something like that, but when you are in front of a situation of disagreement, how you feel in that moment, how you react at that moment. I think it
okay.
is something like that.
So how it says, how has conflict affected you personally and how has it affected your life career and career goals? An answer
This
to
part I put
US.
more down in the test.
Okay. So they said how has conflict affected you personally? Uh, okay, so let's see how it has affected then you personally. Personally, it can lead to emotional stress, anxiety, trauma. In a situation where did you reply to them since and then they sent you this next part of how it has complete?
If I receive any feedback from from them,
Like the last day you were writing the letter, did you send anything to them and then they asked you to ask about the conflict bit or not?
now in the website they are predetermined. You open the
Aha.
website and you see the questions,
Okay. And you go through
so
the
it's
steps.
established. Yes, step by step.
Okay. Okay. So and given that I'm in conflict, I feel helpless to, for the problem to be resolved, I seek to understand the other person and find ways to resolve conflict using available resources. This type of situation is common in my workplace. Uh, on a broader scale, conflict can disrupt societies, leading to displacement, loss of lives, and have long-term economic embedding development and growth in poverty inequality. In extreme cases, it can result in breakdown of social structures, leading to prolonged inability and political unrest. The current world lives under constant threat of conflicts, be in the events between Ukraine and Russia, between Israel and Palestine, and the situation in Syria, Iran, and Yemen, and constant terrorist group. We live in an era of conflict and violence, as the United States has already expressed. In addition to these situations, despite these nations in the world experience conflict, such as threat of democracy, the emergence of this this affects me in several ways. For example, I have a great desire to visit the Holy Land in Israel, to study in Europe, to visit African countries, but I'm afraid of being surprised by an attack like the one carried out by Hamas on Israel, or a suicide attack like what happened in Manchester in 2017, or a great threat of explosions at French airports in 2023. All of these events make me rethink whether I should try because I fear for my safety, but also as a human being, it makes me anguished to think about the atrocities that we can do and makes me lose hope in living in society. It is important to address conflicts through peaceful means and constructive dialogue to ensure well-being and stability of individuals and communities. Resolving conflicts through non-violent methods and meditation can help in fostering uh, sustainable peace and creating a more harmonious society. When's hope to hear from you in our next class. Okay. Um, yeah, it's very good and detailed, and it's all correct. English is brilliant. I, uh, but maybe they're looking for some other example of something in your own community or Brazil. What about like any protesting? Like when I was in South America, one thing I think I noticed that people always are protesting, peaceful protesting. But maybe one time you could, like, even if you have to make it up, or something that, sometimes there's conflict within certain communities and how that made you feel. You've already said how you feel, to tie it into that. What do
Yes.
you think? Because the
Well,
question is, how has conflict affected you? I mean, in our personal lives, yes, conflict affects us, but maybe if you come with something in your community, like uh, if there
yes.
was a protest and
I can,
some people out of hand
yes,
or something.
I can give you an example of the strive in my college, students strive. They are claim for more professors and resource for practical classes, and they are stopping the entry of the college for almost um, 3 weeks, 23 days, and we are stopping everything related to classes and other things like extensions programs and resource programs, and the grants that vulnerable people receive, students who don't have financial resource to live here. They are stopping of receiving this because the technical team have to be inside the college to process the data and other situations. And these students are stopping the interest in, and it's a divided situation because I don't know, a large part of the students are against this strive because they fear of losing the semester because they don't have classes. So it's a situation of conflict.
Yeah, there's a perfect example. Maybe make it like, say that it's building a lot of tension and animosity between students and faculty, or people are wanting to protest now and so forth, right? So you
Yes,
feel that the tension is growing, or is increasing, and this is, for example. And then maybe you could use another example of, uh, you know, all of this is very, you can tie it in, but like using the attack in Manchester and that, like, don't forget, these are all terrible, terrible things. But this is like one thing, and this is where the media runs with all of this stuff, because you are totally safe going to Manchester or any parts of the UK. You know what I mean? This is where
yes,
the problem is leading. This is like fear being fed. These are small terrorist attacks that happen on us, that affect people and scare people, and it's absolutely terrible. But that's not the everyday reality of life. Of course,
mm,
these things are increasing, and but how percentage of how often does that happen? You are totally safe to go to Europe and study. You know what I mean?
yes,
So
yes.
that's feeding back into the
I
whole.
put this on to create a storytelling, you know.
Yes, yes, exactly. So that's the whole point of what the terrorists try to do. They try to feed this fear. So
So I can put
if
this tribe's example and remain this about Manchester or withdrawal.
yeah, like, you know, it shows that you know you're politically aware and everything. But you could take that bit out about that the threats of Manchester, and you can say the rest is very good, but tie it into your own personal life. How has it affected you? In my own life, right now
Yes.
in we're having big strikes, and the tension is growing, and people are protesting, and even if you have to jazz it up a little, you don't have to say there's going to be a war in the university, but that is affecting your life every day, right? And
Yes.
maybe tie it into, instead of using an example like Manchester or something, use a protest in Brazil that happened in your own area or something that wasn't good, that there was some sort of conflict. You know,
Yes.
it's better to tie it into your own personal. That's what they're looking for. Of course, this question is not, they're not just taking people that are refugees or people who are going to be affected. Everyone gets affected by a conflict if you're at some stage or in personal life anyway. So
Yeah.
I think it's best to use some of those examples, take some of that out and put in your own personal university situation at the moment, and use facts and use figures, how many students are being affected,
Yes.
this kind of,
Detail.
yeah, look, use detail like that. You have
Yeah.
all this
Yes.
detail. It's
Yes.
better
Like a
to do it.
voting. Yes. Like a voting that happened and between the students. 800 was in favor of the strike, and 706 was again, something like that, was against.
Hmm.
I can put
Yes,
this
and
details.
yeah, these details like that, and that you know the maybe use then and back in whatever. Look at many different protests. Look at Mexico, like women protesting there, and what happens like when protests go wrong, and how it affects people. Not, you know what I mean. But in Brazil, use an example like that. Okay.
Yes, I will put after the part who I speak about the conflict and work after that, right?
Yeah, or you can talk about the elections, how people protest around the elections and how there's such tension in general with, the, no one, like the big divide between Bolsonaro and what, I don't know the other name of your other political party, but, people
Yes,
storming that, and that is like part of, uh, that's way more relevant than what's happening outside of, it's in your own community, how is it affecting you. So that's the main
yes.
one. You could use those two main examples.
Because here I'm looking to the abroad. I'm not put
Yeah,
Brazilian examples in my region, for example. Yes, I feel this.
and that's what they're looking, how does it affect you? Yes, you're affected watching the news, everybody is, it's horrendous, and it's like, yeah, crime on humanity and what the fuck is happening, but that's not what they're asking you.
Yes,
You have to put in how it is in your own personal situation. So use this. Hundreds of people are being arrested. This is huge. That's exactly what they're looking for. That's, you know what I
yes,
mean? Hundreds of people are being arrested, and you feel tension between, of course, some people in your family or whatever, your family are supporting this party and the opposite. Your
yes.
friends, and you have tension, and that's reality for you. That's conflict. So, what is happening there with that? And like hundreds of people have been arrested.
Yes.
So this is relevant. This is very to today. When is this election happening?
Sorry?
When is the election?
Last year, October, 1 year right now.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can say, like, there's uh, because it's like a neo-Nazi, fas- um, fascist, neo-fascist kind of
Yeah.
um, people are. It's becoming so severe, right? So that's your answer. That's what you should focus on that. We can look at some article if you like. Um, let's see, when was this? January 8th.
Yes.
So it was last January. Okay. But exactly, that's a
Like trying
relevant
to
one.
copy the US.
Try to copy the US
Yes.
with Trump, people
Yes,
doing.
there was a happen in January and in United States last year, and this year happens in Brazil.
Mhm. Um, yeah, so I mean, you can talk about, the whole corruption and that element that it adds tension and stress to everybody in everyday life. It mightn't be like a battle and a physical conflict, but the tension is there between always, with your government or whatever, that
Yes.
or the police or something. You can. That's how you make it a thing. So, what about them? You don't know the next question until you answer this one. It's like that. Each one gives you
Yes, I
a.
already know the next questions. Yes, but I forget it. I have to look at.
Okay. So maybe the next time you can bring a few of the questions and I can then guide you how to answer them. But maybe we can
Yes.
talk it out, the opinions on what to answer or what examples you
Yes.
could use. What you're writing is excellent. You don't need help with rephrasing. There's only like very little that thing with error, you know. But your
Yeah.
actual English, I wouldn't worry about. So
Mm,
it's more
I
like
have to
how you
improve my
answer.
writing skills. I take too much time to do it. I write piece by piece, and I have to correct with translations and take a lot of time. So I have to practice more to be more fluid.
Yeah, of course, it takes time. Um, but yeah, great. Like it is very good, but I think that's where I would suggest you to do. So you're happy
Yes, I
with
will
that?
reduce the abroad examples. I will reduce and put more Brazilian example in my daily life.
Yeah, exactly. So um, maybe start with uh, the university, and then you can build it up to looking back. Here's a prime example of last year. There was huge tension, and uh, explained coming up to the elections, everybody was on edge. Everybody, same thing in Turkey. I just because I also watch this. One thing, the best thing I love about Cambly is because you teach people all around the world, and many of these people you have for a long time, and you see what's happening in politically around the world and how it affects people, and like the
Yeah.
situation in Turkey, my heart broke for them. Even talking to people after the elections, and they're all just devastated because what's the hope? They're just losing hope, and you can see why that is. But that's exactly feeling of helplessness and feeling of losing hope. When Why do people keep fighting and trying to fight for what's right or get a better life for themselves when there seems to be corruption just will always outwin? So that's conflict. It doesn't have to be physical. you
Yes.
know
There's no.
so perfect examples to use. And I hope you're not afraid to come to Europe because of these things. you know
I'm really not. It's just to create all the
Yeah,
story.
no, 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 but that's the whole point, isn't it? That's why terrorists, it is, these things are, uh, by all means, crazy examples, and it's, happening more and more often, um,
Yes.
the world. But, uh, it's still no reason to not. You can't
They
let them
tried to,
win.
yes, they tried to put scare in Brazil in 2016 at the Olympics Games. They tried to do an attack. So it was a little strange situation from Brazil because we think we are the peaceful nation, something like that, because we don't have open conflict with other countries. So it was a little strange at that point. Hope nothing happened.
No, but who was the terrorist or who tried to put the at the games?
Don't remember. I think it was ISIS, something like that.
Oh Jesus, yeah, exactly. So um, it's yeah, it's terrible. Like um, this is not. This is just a small example. The other day, I went to a mosque here, no, in Kuala Lumpur, and they gave us a tour, and it was amazing and everything. But in the end, they gave us a leaflet on uh, Palestine and Israel, and of
Yeah,
course, it's Muslims and Jews, right? And obviously, they are Muslims, and I'm 100% support Palestine, and both parties, the government and the extremists, are at fault, not the innocent people. But the pamphlet uh, was printed on the day that Hamas had killed all those people at the festival, and the number of deaths reported were not reported. So, all of these figures and facts, everything else seems true, but then it said the amount of casualties of deaths of the Israelis is not counted. So that's just a form of propaganda. So, you know what I mean? You
yes.
just have to, how much they're feeding, it's all media feeding another avenue, right?
It's how you tell the story and interpretation change
Hmm.
everything. Because if
Exactly.
you look in numbers, right now one side has lost much more than other, and not just in terms of that, but in relation to access to food and water and the suffering and other things. But one side has the intention for, I don't know, plans to be the victim, right?
The what?
Try to say that they are the victim when they are attacking the other side.
Yeah, of course, of course. Oh, it's horrible, horrible. So yeah, you can put all of, just change that little around, and then will you send it off today, like this week? Do you have to send it?
I don't have a deadline to send until January 15, so I can change whatever I like.
Okay, good. And have you any plans for the weekend?
No, actually, I will try to correct this and read again and send it and study English as usual.
And studying? Are you excited?
And I'm studying a lot, but I think I'm not growing the English, so I try to study much more. It's very strange.
Why?
I don't know. I feel that I'm stopping at the time. I'm studying, studying, studying. And I don't move. I don't know.
No, you are going forward. You are. But anyway, very good. Good to see you, and have a lovely week. I see you next week.